EDG. So Creme, what are you gonna pick?
LeBlanc? Okay, they leave up the Kaisa, but they're like, no, forget the Kaisa. EDG can
They
have it.
take both?
Never mind. They're going Kaisa mid. Now, in the LPL, we didn't really do this, Kitty. So, again, OMG are laughing.
Look.
We didn't even have a Kaisa mid. There are no Kaisa mids in LPL Summer 2023.
Kaisa mid has been cooking ever since Static Shiv on Kaisa became a thing, and LPL just never trialed with it. But we have seen other regions like the LEC and LCS play this champion in the mid lane against LeBlanc once Tristana is no longer a viable option, and it acts very similar to the Tristana, right? But not as much of an early game agency. So we'll have to wait and see how Creme pilots this, because technically this is also his first Kaisa game of the split, and also in his entire career. And honestly, if you look at OMG's AD carries, you have to think that if Abel's not on the Kaisa, can Creme really live up to the expectations?
It's the first one in the LPL as a whole. I just looked through to double check. No Kaisa mid so far. Like, it's always been a potential flex, but we've never actually seen it. So, again, another crazy debut here today in playoffs. As Poppy to pair through. Shanji last game, but can still go in the jungle. But likely to be up in that top side as Kitty. Now we just have to flare around with what's going to be down in that bottom side. We know Rakan might be a ban from EDG, but I've just noticed the Rel is still up and available and has not been picked on the first couple of rotations.
For sure, that champion is going to get slammed, but with the Vayne getting taken away from Uzi, potentially OMG are looking to secure Rel for themselves as that final support position. But now my biggest question is, what is Uzi going to play? Because I think OMG, they're just going to take the approach of WE and take out Ashe and Vayne. And Uzi, a bit of a critique from me is that I feel like he hasn't fully adapted to the current meta yet, where he's not really comfortable with playing Aphelios. I mean, to be fair, if you consider the fact that you're playing Aphelios into OMG, you're probably going to get blasted out of this university or universe. But
yeah, I get blasted out of the university. True. That's true as well.
But it is going to be the Ezreal, so maybe they're alluding to an Ashe Brom for the side of EDG, because it's pretty natural if they're letting the Rel over to OMG. EDG, they want to look for a counter in the bottom lane.
I'm curious. I'm curious at the very least how EDG are going to round this up. Do you get rid of another engaged support? Do you get rid of something? I mean, again, Rel, surely. You get rid of Rel? Yeah. Now you're just stuck with what, Kitty? Nautilus? Nope, never mind. Leave counterpick support. Get yourself a Ksante, because now it's a Poppy jungle.
Aki's Poppy jungle is notorious for going for early ganks towards bottom side. He flashes over Dragon Pit walls and just gets his hands onto the enemy bottom lane duo and gets stuff done. So I love this champion for the side of Aki, but honestly, in this entire league, Shanji is one of the only Ksantes that is willing to counterpick himself up against Ala, where he is going to be playing the Jax 2 games in a row now. But my question's been answered. It is going to be the Jinx. However, I feel like Jinx and Aphelios, they're kind of in a similar situation in the current meta, where you are kind of waiting for the long con, and you have to wait for those 3 item spikes for this Jinx to really play to her full potential.
But Kitty, I wonder if this game with Jax on the team, you start playing towards Static Shiv again for the LeBlanc. You start playing side lane LeBlanc and play split push, because right now OMG are all in, all 5v5, all CC combinations. And as Alistar looks to be one of the last reasonable options left and available, Ppgod starts flexing around. It feels like very different team identities here this time, Kitty. Very OMG style, though. You have to say, they have always played towards their identity, you know, with all different game drafts here in this series. This one is no exception, with Leona actually finishing up OMG's draft.
We've had Akali mids today, we've had Camille tops from EDG, and for potentially the last game of this series, we have Creme playing Kaisa mid lane for the first time in LPL. I'm assuming, like you said, both LeBlanc and Kaisa are going to be looking towards that Static Shiv build, where it is going to be a battle of who gets shut down earlier on. But this time around, Poppy against the LeBlanc 2 games in a row, these teams, and let's see who does it better.
The fans out in force. I mean, the fact that OMG, after all these years of being a team that has been struggling to get back on the international stage, still with a huge fan base. Now, Kitty, for that fun fact, I scroll all the way back. 2017, they almost made a return. But the last time OMG were at Worlds, last time OMG were at an international event outside of Rift Rivals, not counting that, was 2014. This is their climb to, after 9 years, make it back to the big leagues, to make it back to the internationals. To see OMG at Worlds, I mean, again, they're fifth seed, so this is a big ask, and it is still the series between them and EDG. They've got to get past EDG first. But it's a massive what-if for their run, because it would be breaking what has been one of the largest curses in League of Legends. I'm sure there are others quite as big, maybe a little bit bigger, but at least here in the LPL, 9 years since going to an international event is huge.
Look, I know some specific co-streamers would probably die of excitement if OMG does end up qualifying as that final position to represent the LPL at Worlds. But OMG, honestly, I feel like they're the perfect representation of an LPL team. They love fighting, and all of these games so far against EDG have been so entertaining. And it is through how Abel and Aki is able to, they're so aggressive in those team fights. So we'll have to wait and see, because I feel like EDG, there's still something up to be desired, especially with the LeBlanc and the Jax getting locked in 2 games in a row. We saw in Game 3 how one of their biggest problems was that the LeBlanc and the Jax started dropping the ball a little bit in the mid-game, and they weren't able to really collect CS in the side lane because of how much pressure OMG was putting with this full forcing comp. So if they're disciplined enough, maybe they can fix that problem and really start putting pressure and execute this 1-3-1 comp.
As speaking of which, hang on, there's a charge there. Jiejie flashes over, because otherwise he was just dead. Great damage out of Aki, and a great little counter waiting for Jiejie to arrive.
I mean, that's exactly what you want to see out of Poppy. And that's
Whoa.
the sign. Oh,
hang
the
on.
solo kill.
What? Arla forces the flash out. One more auto. Shanji was dead. Top is just heating up. Shanji's laughing as well after that. What a legend. As mid lane Kaisa, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot read Mandarin very well. But Kitty, I believe that is the debut. First ever Kaisa mid.
Yes, in the LPL history, this is going to be the first Kaisa mid lane we have. But the hook hits, I'm assuming not too much is going to be a result of it. I feel like in the top lane 1v1, we have a 2v2.
Oh, yes, we do, but Root doesn't come through. Meiko's ignited, but on the other hand, Ppgod is as well. Uzi with the range. Flashes, one more auto. Q, he's out of range. Uzi takes a turret shot as well as Abel's autoing it so low. Oh, the flash out, Abel lives. So close for EDG's bottom lane, but it is Abel who is enabled.
And the difference at the end of the day is that Abel had an extra heal while Uzi took the cleanse, but now Aki, he is looking to bully out Jiejie in this 4th game. And honestly, with the Poppy going over towards the side of OMG, I mean, this is exactly what you need to see out of Aki.
Oh man, I need to watch that again as Aki might even solo kill. He's got red buff Kitty. Jiejie can't get out, hammer shock down. He's burning up against the turret, but now he's out of commission. So Shanji, he has a bit more free reign, knowing that his jungler can come to the rescue if need be. Aki now moving down towards FoFo, as Creme has the shove here for the time being, and a bit of the pressure. But OMG's early game off to a roaring start. As now Jiejie sent packing, Bot was sent back in Kitty. We need to look again, because did Uzi cancel an auto, or did he just Q and go to his minigun form at the wrong time?
We'll have to wait and see, because this fight was just kind of an engage from Ppgod, and it did look like the Leona was going to die, and that gives reset over to Uzi. Q, order, minigun.
Why is he in minigun form?
If he went the cannon, he would have gotten the reset from Ppgod, and he wouldn't have taken that extra tower shot from the tower. This is tragic for the bottom lane of EDG. And once again, the heal from Abel also made the difference, because they both lived on 1.
Why? Why did he swap the minigun form? The auto attack speed would have been fine. Oh, hot
well,
damn.
Aki is cooking. He's gonna flash over.
Oh, I mean, this might be a solo kill first. It's a stun! Oh, now Ala has level 6. Wait.
Oh my
Wait! Ala, you beauty!
Ala completely turns the game around with a double kill on this Jax as he hits level 6 from killing Shanji and Aki being level 3. I mean, this is why you don't give Jax over to Ala.
His name is Ala for a reason. In English, we say ale. And tonight, EDG fans might be drinking one for him. As with that double kill, EDG is suddenly... They weren't out of the game, Kitty, but it feels like they're back in a big way in that top side. As now for a 3v2, Creme ulti's in, but Aki's already dead. Meiko getting away with his life, but he's flashed on. Creme looking for the second skin. One more auto, but Meiko now gets out on no HP. This game is psychopathic. As Uzi tries to run for his life, Jiejie trying to help him out, but he knows he's dead. He'll zap, he'll stand. Creme gets the kill on this mid lane Kaisa. And in 5 kills in 6 minutes, this game 4 is already heating up.
This game, I mean, Ala 2-0, but Uzi on the Jinx is now 0-2-0, so I don't know when this Jinx is really gonna get that 3-item spike. The Q3 lands, Ala is still level 5. He just goes for the solo kill onto Shanji, uses the counter strike and blocks the minion damage, gets this kill, turns level 6, and completely outplays the top in jungle of OMG.
Aki walking into the stun, not great, but oh man, Ala getting a double. That's huge for EDG. Especially when bot side is going so awry, especially when bot just died again. I'm sure we might have a look at the replay soon. Our cameraman has AFK. Our cameraman's an OMG fan. He just AFK'd for a bit. He had to walk outside, take a breather, and now he's back. Oh, hot damn. I mean, if you were an OMG fan, you're sitting a little bit trepidatiously at the end of your seat because even though gold's even, EDG got first dragon, they got that double kill top side, bot is 10 CS ahead. And that's a wave pushed into Uzi as well. So I'm kind of curious if it's just resetting and bouncing back as now Jiejie trying to hover towards mid against this Kaisa. He doesn't have level 6 though, Kitty. He's going to have to queue in.
Dodges the chain.
Second one, 2 chains. Creme just autos him as Jiejie takes a turret shot. No troubles.
Great discipline coming out of the mid laner OMG as well. Aki was in the enemy jungle towards that bottom side, didn't spot out the Sejuani, so they just assumed Jiejie was towards the top side themselves. But you see a double rotation going onto Meiko here.
Zenith's blade is going to root him down. Abel looking for the root himself, and Meiko has to flash out. Ppgod now translating towards mid as this AD LeBlanc this time. He's just going to clear out the wave given to a Kitty. Just a note, FoFo is going AD. If it wasn't already there. That means that EDG do not really have hard AP this game. Just worth mentioning here, as Shanji might have a field day himself.
Uzi really needs his Lord Doms if they want to kill the front line of OMG, but look at the zone from Ppgod. That's 2 waves and also 2 plates going to Abel's pockets. I feel like EDG, they have to do a last hurrah, get the Rift Herald, which is going to get denied from Aki. As Al also rotates late to the play. I feel like EDG, they're just getting played around right now.
Oh my god, the ultimate yoink. The ultimate thank you for a leash I think that I've ever seen. See you later, bro. EDG, as you said, yeah, getting played around in a fell swoop of plays. Despite me ranting about topside. Bot with plates, 2 now in their pocket. Wave also denied. EDG are down 1,000 gold. And you can see Jiejie's now desperate to find a lane to amplify, and it happens to be top.
If Shanji reacts fast enough, he can stop the initial CC with that W in hand. He also has the ult, has the flash, so maybe he lives this if he plays it correctly.
Flash away, and invulnerably he goes. Shanji now down to Summoner as, you know, Jiejie doesn't have that Herald, so he can't play off that tempo at topside, Kitty.
Oh no, it goes from bad to worse in it. I mean, you have Aki flashing over. The ward doesn't spot him with that pink ward, so Jiejie was just kind of thinking this Rift Herald has already been secured. And a jump scare from Aki from the dog bush, and he just steals it in broad daylight. But another question is, where's Ala? He had push in top lane, but maybe he just expected Jiejie to go for that Rift Herald uncontested.
Man, it's just such a big takeaway when OMG's early game, especially in the top side, was in danger. Arla up against the turret. He's taking it for the time being as well. 2 turret shots, in fact. The all out there from Shanji, but he doesn't have the flash to follow suit. Arla will just walk away. No harm, no foul, but OMG are still winning out in the rest of the map. Creme is about to get more gold here in the mid lane. Herald gets the charge. Plating still up. Creme will get one of his own as well. Ozaki's now found a pick onto Jiejie. Center play there. Teleport in first from EDG, but look, watch that ulti. It's interrupted. Great ulti from Jiejie. Xayah flies on in, gets the ulti, whacks down Abel. It's Ale season here as he's popping the damage out. Left and right, leap strike, leap strike, leap strike. Creme ulti's in and nukes him. Shanji now next up though as EDG get flipped back. Jiejie finds him. A tense situation, a 2-for-1 in favor of EDG. But Aki's got other things in mind. His ulti was cancelled by Jiejie. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. No,
he doesn't have
can't
flash
do it.
though. He can't do it.
He wants a pick. He wants a pick. He wants someone to walk into him. But Aki, there's 3 members there. Zap gets him, but no one can follow suit. So Dragon over to EDG.
OMG were a bit too ambitious with using all of their ultimates onto the front line of EDG. As you see Jiejie over the wall, Ppgod instantly commits every single crowd control onto the Sejuani. Unfortunately, when you don't have as much setup to really stop Arla from getting onto the back line, then this team fight is pretty much over. A single order from Arla did a quarter of Abel's HP as he was forced to use a Feather Storm to dodge out on the Nautilus as well. But at this point in time, EDG with the Jax in the conversation is just way too strong.
See Uzi get that ult on the back end as well. That's what netted an advantage in numbers for the fight. But OMG still ahead in gold. And Kitty, the biggest thing is that even though Dragon went over, you gotta remember OMG before the players, Arla might be in trouble. Turret shot again as he walks through at half HP. Shanji looking for the knockback. Arla playing with fire a little bit here. Hang on. After this great game that he's had, he has to be careful. Shanji's all out is almost up and available again, but he just knows his limit, picks up a plate, picks up Demolish, and walks it out. And that'll help with the gold as well that EDG were in disadvantage of here in this early game. But Kitty, it has just been one hell of an early game at that. Like, there is no way I expected EDG to be in contest as, you know what, there's fireworks playing near my house. I don't know who's shooting the fireworks, but obviously it's a sign for a potential Game 5. Maybe it is.
The hook misses from Meiko, but once again the gold is even. Arla's gonna jump in.
Yeah, of course he does at this point. Ppgod, meanwhile, jumping in. He's just dead. Uzi gets a reset. And now getting excited. Zaki sends him away. Shove against the wall. Meiko in trouble. Creme ulti's in.
Oh!
The numbers disadvantage is huge. Uzi's ult there, but he flashes over. One more for Creme. Zap. He wants to make up for the early game. All he needs is that range. All he needs is the range, and he finds it. Triple for Uzi. Just when you thought that man was out with a zap, Uzi's back in.
From 0-2 to 5-2, this Jinx has just revived in Game 4 match point where OMG, they want to seal the deal, but Keeper's Verdict isn't going to stop Uzi from getting these kills, and EDG, they're now in firm control of Game 4.
While the lane has been rough, there's one thing you're sure of with Uzi Bloody Eye, and it is team fighting all the way, as it starts here with Ppgod being over-ambitious for an engage.
Once again, like you said, Ppgod just going in while Abel and Creme just aren't in the correct positions to follow up on this Leona. Keeper's Verdict forces Jinx out of the fight as Creme picks up a kill as well, but the final ultimate that lands onto Abel gets that reset for the Jinx to run back into the fight and get that gap closed onto Creme. I mean, it's the perfect situation for this Jinx to come back. And once again, I feel like this Leona, you're going in for these fights, but you have to consider the fact that Uzi has chompers, so if you go in, you're gonna die.
It was the mistake that was fixed. He stayed in cannon form. There's no way he's going in minigun in that one. But he got a shutdown on Creme. Really big deal here for EDG, is now 1,000 in the lead, but Uzi getting so much gold. Where in the early game, he was down 0-2, Kitty. Now he's 4-2 from that Quadra. Abel was the one ahead, no longer. BF sword in the inventory of this Jinx. And I think now we have to be very serious about the position EDG are in. The fact that they do have this front line for the Madman. And EDG in a good position. I think that's all that can be said here. We'll just see how OMG play up these sides. Kitty is able right now. Is he in a bit of trouble? Good damage out of FoFo, but Abel holds onto the ulti, flash, and heal as Creme is nearby.
This time around, Jiejie's Rift Tool isn't going to get stolen away from Aki, but you have the bottom lane rotating up. They're going to get the reset from the tower.
Depth charge there. Need to get to the turret first, but instead EDG just focusing on the kill. Arla picks up yet another. Shanji punished while OMG are hovering mid, but guess what? Here's Jiejie onto Ppgod. He'll be locked down, flashed away. The rocket going past them, but OMG having to retreat from mid lane while Creme will open up bot side. But EDG pressure in the rest.
OMG looks so dizzy right now. EDG, they're on top of their game. Extremely proactive, having the bottom lane duo rotate up and prioritize that Rift Herald once again. And now they're going to reset, look for the third dragon, which is going to be Soul Point. And this game, although with Uzi having a terrible start on the Jinx, they somehow come back. And I feel like it's all thanks to Jiejie and Meiko once again on this Sejuani and Nautilus, where they're able to soak up so much pressure and damage when it does come to these 5v5s.
They've been the shining lights through EDG so far. I mean, Arla as well, you can't discount the game this guy's had on the Jax. But as FoFo gets rooted up, I feel like EDG, again, it has not really been the early game kitty in the past couple of games. As Dredge line comes through, maybe it was better that one didn't connect. As it's been how the game's been closing out. As Herald comes through mid, it won't stop the TP, but OMG as a group up as 5 will bring in a bit of pressure from EDG and stopping them stepping up. Herald doesn't finish his job on the turret either, so that stays standing for the time being. 4 members mid, 1 bot. Arla is going to split push here on the outer turret, while Dragon is now up and available, and EDG are trying to poke them down.
I feel like Arla has a really good angle. Double pink was placed in the river as well for the Jax to walk up here. OMG, they have to bonk away the Jax before he starts threatening the backline in Abel and Creme if they want to take this fight. But I feel like EDG, they're zoning them up perfectly.
It'll be third Dragon at this rate. I mean, not only is turret going to go down, Dragon sits there waiting. Shanji's got a big job to do. And FoFo's already put Abel down to half HP. Mid is the threat, Dragon's the threat. EDG on multiple angles now. Continue their onslaught. And OMG just going to give this one up. So it will be a fight for Soul in 5 minutes. Very early on here for Edward Gaming. But it is one that's going to give them an advantage, Kitty, with that Baron up as well. And a lot to play for here on the map, and especially playing for a potential game number 5 at this point.
Especially with EDG locking in a 1-3-1 composition. Aki goes in.
It is dangerous. Stretch line brings him back. Uzi from the back line firing away. Ppgod is next up. Solar Flare does nothing. Uzi cleanses to get the damage, get the range, and get the blast. Another kill goes over. 6 in his pocket. And EDG, the engage after engage after the engage, Kitty. The CC never ends.
Even with Ppgod picking up the Merc Treads as well, that's tier 1 tower going towards EDG now. They open up the map completely and allows Arla and FoFo to step up even further in the side lanes. While OMG, they're really struggling to force anything in the mid lane, even having numbers advantage, but Uzi on this Jinx is just way too fed. We'll get a replay of what happened. We have FoFo going in for a bit of a poke onto Creme. Not gonna land though, but the Chompers, once again, not allowing Ppgod to go in is just such a pain for OMG to deal with. This was a 4v4, but the Kraken order onto Ppgod, I mean, there's not much you can do. You have to wait for the Kaisa to get the Gwinsus to really do damage and really do poke, compared to someone like Uzi who just picked up the IE.
Yeah. And that's a 2-item strong man with his extra crit chance added on. Uzi no cleanse, but I mean, flash to play in this next fight as well, Kitty. 3.5 minutes to find out who gets this dragon, but more importantly, to find out how EDG play around this objective that they have in their back pocket. It's a 4K gold lead. I don't trust it just because of how last game ended. But Kitty, it is a very different comp. You know, this time, Creme isn't on a champion that can press his R button and really set up for the all-in. Creme is part of the solution, part of the damage. OMG, I feel like the team fight this time around is going to require a lot more to get on this backline, to get past all those refrigeration units onto Uzi.
You also consider the fact that OMG's composition, it is going to be about how Abel can get the feather pullback from the front line into Meiko and Jiejie, and of course Alua, but unfortunately with only one item into his pockets, I don't think he's going to be doing too much compared to the side of EDG right now, where they are spiking extremely huge, with also the Dark Harvest getting picked up by FoFo. But that's a really good question, because OMG, we've always seen them kind of find success from straight up 5v5 compositions where it is going to be front to back team fights. But this time around, with the Kaisa getting locked in for the first time in the LPL, it is our first glance to see how OMG really execute with this Kaisa, because you need that third item coming in ASAP if you want to fight these 5v5s.
How far off? Again, we're just kind of waiting here for what seems to be that Gwinsu's. Of course, would be. OMG gearing up in the meantime, though. Would come a lot faster if they could find a pick, but FoFo not really giving it to them. As the rest of EDG are grouping up. I mean, Creme, he was in this spot on the Yone in the previous game. And EDG started collapsing. Not going to get that back in time. That was Aki in the brush. EDG don't know the jungler back. Otherwise, if they did, they would be on this Baron straight away. But regardless, they're like, hang on a minute. There's no vision here for OMG. We've cleaned the area. Baron's going to start anyway.
But you have a pink ward on it, so they have full info on this Baron starting. The jungler can flash. He doesn't have flash. He has the Hex Flash.
He comes over anyway. He gets it. He gets it. Hex Flash over and finds the kill. Uzi's also dead at the cost of Creme's life. EDG for the re-engage. A two-man stun comes up as Aki is next up. Arla helps FoFo find the kill, but Aki should not have been allowed to get away with that.
Why? Oh, why would EDG flip the Baron when they are in complete control? Now the gold slightly evens out and they deny the Baron buff from going over to Ala, and now they can potentially contest for this fourth dragon because they have mid control. I mean, you see that EDG, they're full committed to this Baron. They do not care that Aki was over the wall. They didn't have vision of him, so it was a little bit rough. But I'm not too sure. I mean, you can still smite through CC. The Sejuani ult lands as well. Creme going in here trying to go for Uzi as well. Just a bit of a highlight, but I don't think that was necessary. You just back with as many Baron buffs as possible, and you kind of deny EDG Stormball out of control.
I don't know why he was allowed to Hex Flash. As you said, no vision around the side.
Ala saw him though, charging up the Hex Flash, but EDG, maybe they thought they had enough burst, but OMG, they have full push in this mid lane, so they're gonna look for another 5v5.
Why do you need your 50-50 at this point? You're playing for Soul. Now Baron's not even on the menu. There's no fight to be had on the corner. Even though EDG still have the gold lead, I mean, I'm getting flashbacks to the last game. Except this time around, it just feels like EDG built the hole. OMG going to be starting this one off, but it's about angles here for Arla. FoFo doing a bit of poke damage on the side. Dragon looking to go down. It's taken here, but look at the engage in the back end. Arla might have brought it all back. If he goes golden, he'll come out of stasis and he'll destroy everyone. Able with a good pullback, but it matters not. Uzi's alive. Arla's alive. OMG is still dead. And even though that Baron might have tilted EDG fans, EDG will not tilt from that Baron.
Ala once again being the saving hero of this final, or at least fourth match point game for the side of EDG, finds an amazing angle on this Jax and flashes in, lands a 4-man stun to bring them back into this team fight. But once again, OMG, they were able to take that dragon away. So EDG, they were able to get a lot of pocket damage, at least gold, into this Jax's pockets, but we'll have another look at this replay. Just the flash E connecting onto 4, forcing the flash out of, I believe it was Abel, where you had to use the Feather Storm as well. Not enough damage without that Lord Doms in his pockets. So OMG, they just didn't have a way of escaping, especially with how they were cut off with the escape into the bottom lane. But still, I feel like EDG, they aren't able to get too much of this. You saw the wave situation. They weren't able to get towers. However, Ala on this Jax, no one can kill him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's huge. He's already had a miracle game, or rather a massive one to keep EDG in it. They'll get a bit more gold, but nothing else up. No Dragon, no Baron. It might stop the Baron power play, but I feel like OMG already are on the back foot a little bit with, as you mentioned, Creme not having it on this Kaisa, but also the fact that EDG were able to find some picks off the back end. Now, trying to push towards mid lane. Again, No Baron in the hands of OMG anyway. They will open up mid finally. But EDG in the meantime are pushing through sides. Got pressure there, setting up vision themselves for this Baron. The next one that comes up in 2 minutes 15. And Kitty, I guess we'll just sit and wait. And I kind of keep that fight out of my back of my mind because it didn't do too much to the game state. I think importantly, EDG still feel in control. They still have a 3-item Jinx now with Renans. As they push up here, will it matter? Uzi's tag. Shanji, oh, he found him. Uzi's been taken away and destroyed. Shanji, that might be the game-winning play. But can they follow up? Do they have anything else? No. Uzi didn't burn anything for that, but OMG are going to try and take some objectives, set up some vision off the back end.
FoFo is still alive with the static shift though, so they won't have a reliable wave to really force the tower in tier 2. But like you said, I mean, the possibility of Shanji getting his hands onto Uzi in that fight is just absolutely insane. With Uzi having flash available, giving so much time for OMG to work off from the macro game as well. Creme is going to go for the Banshee's Veil as that 4th item to kind of block out on the poke damage that I believe FoFo is looking for, and of course the initial hook from Meiko as well in Jiejie's engage. But next fight is going to be around this Baron. We see both teams being very willing to flip 50-50s. However, you have to protect Uzi, and he doesn't have low doms yet, so I'm getting a little bit concerned on how he's going to shred the front line without all in the conversation.
It's going to take a lot longer. Stopwatch picked up instead, filling his inventory with the Doran's Blade at the end. I think he's just gone through a purchase as well, so not enough to even get towards that last whisper. As look at Shanji here in the flank. Kitty, just a nice little pick off to show how vulnerable Uzi can be if Shanji can isolate.
Yeah, and this is OMG's game plan, forcing fights in mid lane. Shanji can no longer fight Ala isolated in the side lane, so he just instantly goes onto the AD carry and makes something happen before Ala starts pressuring the inhibitor towers. And that's great proactive gameplay from OMG, but now with the Baron in 20 seconds, Uzi still has that flash, luckily for them, but I feel like FoFo needs to go in and go for little orders to really chip down at OMG to allow Uzi to get those resets.
But now, if someone gets picked off like that, now it means something. Because Dragon's up in 50, Baron's up in 3. EDG are here first, but OMG, remember, this game was EDG's yet again. But it was a throw around Baron that hurt them so much as Aki jumps in. Jiejie takes it, but Meiko with the re-engage. Look at FoFo and Uzi with the range. Now playing a bit of back to front. Not going to get poked out too much. Jiejie and Meiko don't care too much at Creme at this point. The Void Seekers land, but mean nothing. As OMG are forced to back away, and Dragon's up in 20 seconds. It looks like OMG either want to reset or better timing here, Kitty, because they are going to lose a lot of vision priority walking towards the pit.
Important thing is, Aki no longer has that Keeper's Verdict, which is going to be huge for the side of EDG. But can OMG just look for mid prior and then force another 5v5 onto EDG? They don't want to get this.
How do they get it with static shift LeBlanc? I don't
yes,
know if
static
it's
shift
this.
Kaisa.
They do, but the thing is, you've also got a Jinx with a Q, Kitty. And with the range there, I don't know how you're ever going to clear waves as fast as EDG is. It might not even be about clearing waves. FoFo stepping up. You wanted to see her poke down and get some damage down on OMG. It looks like that's FoFo's priority here. Static doing quite a bit of work. Already 250 damage from not too much. As Baron now going to be threatened. This is the quick Baron as well. Hex Flash this time on the defensive side as EDG have to walk on in. But the problem is Baron's pulled away. EDG moving into a funnel. Ala is coming in, as you said. Jed has kept them in. Again, Ala ready to run in, but this time he's hit against the wall. They won't let him move. But you got to watch Uzi in the back end. Uzi versus Abel. The battle starts. He heads up, though. Kites it out in rocket form over the wall. He's sent out. Uzi's knocked back, but they can't get the kill. Back in range. Watch him flourish. Abel is still alive as Creme takes down Uzi. What a shot. FoFo running forward as well. Another close call. EDG lose their bot lane. It's 2 for OMG. And we go back to stagnation.
Uzi goes stationary because he was looking to land the W, but Creme snipes him out of the fight. But with TPs available for the side of EDG, they're going to look for the final dragon. And OMG, they're not going to be able to be fast enough to force the Baron again.
EDG finding Cloud Soul at the very least for this team will be brilliant. But OMG, as mentioned, Kitty, Baron o'clock. This is a slow dragon too. So they have to sprint here as that control ward now going to give them information, but Uzi's not up for another
They're
second.
doing it.
Meiko has to run in. Scrying going to see this out, but Kaisa does a quick Baron. FoFo here looking for the steal. Jiejie denied. Knocked back by Aki. The keeper's verdict says no. Arla now has to run for his life as they might have the Cloud Soul, but the Baron now picked up. EDG looking to fight afterwards. Creme jumps in into a Jax. I'm not sure. Uzi now frontlining. Has to be careful with no summoners. Jiejie trying to find Ppgod as everyone stays standing. Baron for Soul. EDG now need to play the waiting game, while OMG need to play the pace game.
And because Ala doesn't have that TP available, I mean, I feel like EDG, yes, you trade Soul for Baron, but how does OMG get 2 Barons in this game? It's so illegal. But this highlight of the game is that Ala, he had another insane angle on this Jack. He had the flash available, but Aki instantly popping him onto the wall and forcing the Zhonya's out while able getting the feathers down and using that flash to secure the final route onto, I believe, Meiko and Jiejie. Once again, Ksante getting onto the hands of Jinx, but this Ksante is going to get shredded after using the all-out, and at the end, it was just a Jinx versus Kaisa battle, and the final Void Seeker connects onto Uzi, and it evens the trade.
Does indeed. The crowd upset at that, but Creme 7-2. This guy has been landing him as we come back to live. OMG with a bit of a deathbed in health bar. FoFo over the wall, look at the angle. Aki tries to jump in, but again with a depth charge, you're looking at this Jinx who's now getting excited. Remember that Cloud Soul has given him movement speed to catch on up as AoE Paradise. EDG want to take us to a game number 5 in round 2. The steps are there, but the Baroned up team holds onto 4. FoFo back in the base.
Stops the back?
Stops one base. He's just going to walk it, but EDG should now be able to threaten inhibitor turret.
Gonna look for a mid inhibitor and now rotate towards that top side and work off that top wave as well. But I feel like Creme now picking up the void stuff. I mean, this Kaisa needs to die and get instantly engaged on by either Meiko or Jiejie, but without those ultimates available, they just have to play the slow game and kind of chip at OMG one by one. I feel like Aki dying there was a bit unnecessary.
I'm just watching FoFo sprint around the map. Double distortion, gets Cloud Soul. And the movement speed is like playing an arena game, honestly. It's insane. FoFo, as he sprints around, it was one member before. I couldn't stop highlighting. It's a man who's just based. It's a man who, you know, in this game has been pretty rough in some of the positioning. He's had some great team fights, but he's also had some rubbish team fights. And again, coming back to pro play here in this split, you know, it was Leave at the start. We had the Snake, ladies and gentlemen, absolute legend, to fill in for at least a week. And now we have Uzi's EDG are going to TP in, try and bring us to a game number 5. Is this the moment? Uzi's not the one knocked away. As his ult flies out, he gets the movement speed. Ppgod is zapped up. Solar Flare's there, kiting out of range. EDG have used everything here to try and find a pick. Or almost everything, I should say. Teleport from Arla. There's no Elder up though, Kitty. So the tools and the commitment to just try and end. OMG at least able to hold on.
A really good disengage from the side of OMG as well, but Ppgod, I feel like this Leona is going to be very scary in these team fights because you are quite literally acting as a reset for Uzi to pop off and gain that movement speed. Now having the soul in his pockets as well, this Jinx is going to be extremely fast once that first person dies down. So OMG, I mean, you have to play with Creme, you have to play with the range. He is now full build as well, and these Void Seekers are starting to hurt so much. So EDG, they need to kind of look for an instant flank from this Jax, especially when we have the flash available for Ala as well, if they want to win these 5v5s, because look at that.
Don't let Uzi get hit. Jiejie and Meiko have to constantly block it. That was one Void Seeker, and Uzi is down to 1/4 of his HP. He's got a GA, Kitty. That's going to give him a bit of a threshold, but we're not expecting this Jinx to survive one combo of the Kaisa at this point. At least we'll go into the GA with a full build on Creme. Level 18 as well. Even Arla is taking big damage from Creme. He's had one hell of a series here on OMG. The W's out and out they go. They spot backs. They see Arla. And now just gearing up for the dragon that comes in a minute 10.
It feels like it's going to be an Elder Phillip for this match point game on OMG's pressure shoulders, but I feel like once again we're seeing the problem coming out of EDG. They lock in LeBlanc, they lock in Jax. You have a 1-3-1 composition, but FoFo on this LeBlanc doesn't really feel like he's providing that much pressure drawn into the side lanes, where he is once again playing into the win cons of OMG. Now they have no choice but to force 5v5s.
FoFo, he does have Rabbit on death cap, so I will say this LeBlanc will nuke someone as well. But more to your point, what we've seen of all Static Shiv LeBlancs playing for the side lanes. As FoFo trying to lure them in. OMG hover as a 5-man unit. They will not ungroup. They're not going to get picked off in a unit, or at least therefore outside of one. Dragons up in 20 seconds. EDG have complete presence around mid. Kitty, as we're saying, the wave clear is massive with Jinx at this point. Plus the Static Shiv LeBlanc. It's OMG, that ward. Wait, that ward. That ward.
Look at Allah, he is wrapping around. He's spotted on a ward though.
Wards win games. Wards win games. Meiko as he gets the engage. OMG are going to get locked into a corner. Arky nukes Arla for the time being. They turn on the Jax. He's over the wall. Uzi steps up, but again, you've got a Warriors. Creme ulti's in.
What?
Creme, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's Lee Syndrome with a Kaisa as OMG are getting blasted around. It's a game 5 all of a sudden. Creme de la creme. That was bad, Della, bad.
And EDG even out the scoreline to 2-2. And they are now playing a best of 1. EDG, how do they win this game?
What was that? Creme wanted the kill on Uzi, but he has GA. Creme! It's a game 5. Run, Silver Scrapes. And go back to the drawing board. Reset. What the hell? Kaisa Syndrome in the flesh.